What's up, everyone? It's Bryan here from Xact IT Solutions. Welcome to another video on our YouTube channel where we talk about all things cybersecurity to help you become more cyber aware and realize what the heck is going on out there in the world today, especially on the internet. So if it's your first time joining us, welcome to our subscribers and our returning viewers. I welcome you as well. We're well on our way to 1,200 subscribers. Would love it if you guys could subscribe to our channel. We don't get paid for this stuff. We don't do any sponsorships. We don't annoy you with ads, and we certainly are not asking you to head over to our Patreon because we don't have one. Our whole goal here is to make people more cyber aware about what's going on in the world, and we really are doing this to just help the community. We believe this is a team sport. So today we're going to talk about ransomware. We're going to talk about an attack that happened to a local government. As many of you know, I am in the Philadelphia area. There was a local government that was attacked. We're going to get into that, and then we're going to get into why these things are becoming such a problem, and I'm going to show you some data that shows us why we shouldn't be doing things like paying ransoms. So, if you like anything you see in the video today, please give us a thumbs up on the video below and hit the subscribe button if you are so inclined. But without further ado, let's jump into the content for today. All right, so we're going to jump into the content. And the first one here is from 6ABC Action News. I'm just going to play the video here. Somebody obviously paid.
New this morning, Delaware County has resolved a cyber attack on its government computer network by paying the hacker $25,000. We first reported the security breach in November. The ransom is equal to the deductible amount on the county's insurance policy. In exchange, the hacker provided a list of the stolen files and shared the information necessary to unlock the county's systems. The county is now working with a private cybersecurity firm.
Yeah, so as the old joke goes, your cybersecurity budget tends to increase after a cyber attack. And as you heard there at the end, and at the end of this article, it goes on to say that, that Delaware County is now working with a private cybersecurity firm to shore up its cybersecurity practices. And basically, as a recap, I did cover this video in a previous YouTube video back when this first happened. However, at the time, they were asking for like $500,000 for the ransom, and that has now changed to $25,000, which is the deductible that Delaware County has for their insurance. So if you recall from my YouTube video last week, I kind of dove into a ransomware negotiation. I shared screenshots of what that looks like and how people are interacting with ransomware criminals or the people that install this stuff these days. And one of the first things they ask you is, are you a negotiator, a professional like ransomware negotiator? Do you have experience doing this? And are you from an insurance company, or do you have insurance, or do you have cyber insurance? Because this goes into how they negotiate and the tactics that they use. They will literally walk you through like, okay, look, your policy is this and that and the other thing. Okay, so you're going to have to pay $25,000 to your insurance company, so because that's your deductible. So to get your files back, just give us the $25,000. You don't have to file a claim with your insurance, and that is kind of what we're starting to see, because a lot of companies were filing claims with the insurance, and then the insurance companies are going to be like, we're not paying this anymore. So now they're changing their tactics yet again, as we see here, and they are literally taking the fee that you would pay the insurance company in your deductible, and they are just saying, all right, pay us that fee and we'll give you your files back. So I guess, as long as that fee is reasonable enough, this is a pretty high deductible, $25,000. If it was $5,000 or $10,000, you'd probably pay the insurance company because I don't think they would come that low from $500,000 to under $25,000 even. So probably a good negotiator here and somebody who was able to say, look, they don't have the money. And the best you're going to do is get the $25,000, which they would have paid the insurance company, and they move on. But as we're going to see here, paying the ransom is a bad idea, and I've said that before. This Ryuk group, they pulled in $150 million, and this Ryuk group, in probably my next or the following video that I'm going to do on YouTube, we're going to talk about an actual observation of a trick bot / Ryuk attack. It ended up that the attackers ended up getting kicked off the network before they could deploy ransomware, but it's pretty well thought through what I'm going to go through, that Ryuk, it would have ended up in Ryuk Ransomware had the criminals, gone all the way through with their plan. And then here we have $150 million is what's believed that was pulled in, and the one ransomware gang, Ryuk, is estimated to have netted over $150 million through its criminal extortion activities, researchers estimate. Now, how do they do this? How do they know? Well, when you get ransomware, you get presented with a message, and on that message there's a Bitcoin address. You can trace how much Bitcoin has been sent to a certain address, and then where it went after that address. That's the the cool thing and the nice thing about Bitcoin and any cryptocurrency for that matter is that you can literally follow where that money went. And in this particular case, researchers, I think they found several. I think the number was in the 60s or so. I don't remember exactly. But they found a number, 61 Bitcoin deposit addresses, and they traced where all this money went and who paid to it, and they were able to calculate that there was 150,000 or 150 million sent to these 61 addresses that they were able to identify. The article then goes on to say that the blockchain forensics firm Chain Analysis estimated that Huobi and Binance handled more than half the 2.8 billion in illicit Bitcoin transactions it was able to identify in 2019, which is basically people who want to exchange cryptocurrency for fiat money so they can turn it into real money so they can use it, because you can't use Bitcoin right now in most places to buy stuff. That's probably, a really good debate you could have if you want to figure out if that's a thing that could actually happen, is people actually using Bitcoin to pay for cars and goods and groceries and things like that. But it's not a thing right now, so you still have to change it over. And when you change it over, a lot can be traced then and things like that. But here's the really important point that I wanted to get across to everybody. Bitcoin roughly a year ago, was about $7,000, and today it's somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000. So if you were ransomware about a year ago and you paid, let's say, one Bitcoin, you paid at that time what it was worth, which was roughly $7,000. Today it's worth $30,000 per Bitcoin. So that attack on your business, or when you paid that, has now significantly increased the revenue for these criminal attackers, assuming that they held on to the Bitcoin, which they probably most likely did. They probably didn't take it all out. I'm sure they took some of it out, but a lot of it's still probably in Bitcoin. And when the Bitcoin goes from 7,000 to 30,000, I mean, imagine that. Imagine that when you got out of your jam and you paid the ransom, it was $7,000. And now that same $7,000, less than a year later is worth, 3, 4 times, almost 5 times, sometimes 6 times as much, depending on the day, than when you originally paid for it. And it's only enriching the cyber criminals and making it easier for them to do what they want to do. It gives them more money, it gives them more resources. That's why we need to work on better cybersecurity strategies so your business is not in a position where it needs to pay the ransom. So that's it for me for today, folks. I hope you found this enlightening and start to see the bigger picture of how these payments are starting to affect us, and how they make it easier for hackers to do what they want to do and make better tools and make better ransomware. It's all interconnected. All our businesses are, interconnected in some way, shape, or form, because if your business was hacked and you paid the ransom, and you gave resources and money to these criminal hackers, it probably only allowed them to hack 2 or 3 more businesses because of that. So just keep that in mind. All right, unintended consequences here. We'll see you on the other side. Take care, everyone.